ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् शुश्रूषोषद्ददानस्य वासुदेवकथारुचिः स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात् शृण्वता स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भावा कामलोभादयश्च ये चेत एतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay. Oh, sorry. There was a button. I thought it might help the image. No, it actually, it's off, turn on thing. All right. So we are reading today from Canto 1, Chapter 11, verse number 12. Am I right? I think so, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
सर्वर्तु सर्वविभवा पुण्यवृक्षलताश्रमै उद्यानोपवनारामैर्वृतपद्माकरश्रियम् सर्वत्र सर्वविभवा पुण्यवृक्षलताश्रमै उद्यानोपवनारामैर्वृतपद्माकरश्रियम् सर्वत्र सर्वविभवा पुण्यवृक्षलताश्रमै उद्यानोपवनारामैर्वृतपद्माकरश्रियम् Sarva, all, Ritu, seasons, Sarva, all, Vibhava, opulences, Punya, pious, Vriksha, trees, Lata, creepers, Ashramai, with hermitage, Udyana, orchards, Upavana, flower gardens, Aramai, pleasure gardens and beautiful parks, Vrita, surrounded by Padma Akara, the birthplaces of lotuses or nice reservoirs of water, Shriyam, increasing the beauty. So, translation. The city of Dwarakapuri was filled with the opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water breeding lotus flowers all over. So from this verse onwards, like the next 4 to 5 verses, will be describing the beauty of Dwaraka, the actual serenity and the atmosphere over there, how it is and all that. So we have been hearing about Dwaraka Vasis till now, how they're so attached to Krishna, and they have all facilities and amenities and everything. And still, when Krishna came and just blew his conch shell from even the outskirts, they were automatically attracted to him, letting alone all the facilities that they may have. So now we are even getting a better realistic picture what exactly is there in Dwaraka. Okay. So purport. We will have to read this purport in bits and pieces, like sections. We'll try that today. And Prabhupada has brilliant purports for every verse. And let's see how he takes this verse, not just giving information, but actually imparting education through the verse that we would probably never think we could really learn something about other than information. Okay. So, purport. Perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. The first sentence itself gives us a lot of instruction. So the human civilization, our development or advancement is not altering what Krishna has given us through this nature, but actually utilizing it in a proper way to serve Krishna and his devotees. So when one's nature, like for example, now we are seeing outside, it's all snow. Normally, if it was just rain, it would be water, right? The nature of water is to be liquid. And here, with this changes in the atmosphere and the material world, the whole water has become ice. So it's conditioned to become ice. So this is almost like a conditioned nature of water to be an ice. So here we see that everything that's given by Krishna in nature, if one can utilize in its natural way, it's more helpful and it facilitates more our alignment and unity with our existence. And so there's no wastage of energy and time and resources in just reorganizing matter. Instead, the energy is spent in realizing the spirit. So that's why Prabhupada is giving perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. What is perfection? That also we have heard many, many verses of what is perfection. Perfection, as we know, the sages in the first canto, this is the first canto, I'm sorry. The sages in the beginning ask 6 questions, right? What is the ultimate good for every person? And what's the essence of the scriptures? So there are 6 questions in the first chapter. In response to that, Sutta Goswami responds in 2nd chapter of the first canto, verse number 6 and 7, in response to what's the ultimate good, or what is the perfection basically for any living entity, especially human civilization. The perfection is the duty or paradharma of a living entity is to engage in devotional service of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And when one awakens that bhakti, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha, when once bhakti is awakened in one's heart, then one automatically develops detachment and knowledge, right? And so we hear so many verses like this. What is actually perfection? And we also hear from Krishna himself that whoever serves my devotees is my devotee. So basically, the connection that we have, Mamai Vamsa Jiva Loke, Krishna says, all living entities are Mama, Eva, he says, like only my Jiva Amsa, part and parcels. And who are they? Jiva Bhuta, all living entities, not just human beings or some rare species in the world, but all living entities, Jiva Bhuta. Who are they? Sanatana, they are eternal. So this is our nature. And perfection is to realize that nature of Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha and Mamai Vamsa, or how we are related to Krishna. So whatever we live life in this world, whatever resources we get, for example, nature, is to utilize, or not exactly like in a utilitarian way, not in a negative way, but I'm saying that to take it as a favorable breeze to realize that perfection or to attain that perfection. So Prabhupada is that's putting here very nicely the first sentence itself. Perfection of human civilization is made possible by utilizing the gifts of nature in their own way. All right, next. I mean, we can always go deeper and deeper in this sentence, but we'll move forward with the purport now. As we find herewith in the description of its opulence, Dwaraka was surrounded by flower gardens and fruit orchards, along with reservoirs of water and growing lotuses. There is no mention of mills and factories supported by slaughterhouses, which are the necessary paraphernalia of the modern metropolis. So, couple of points here. Prabhupada is saying that naturally Dwaraka was beautiful. Now, if we were to find such beautiful places, they are vacation spots. So maybe once a year or once in 2 years or whenever, we go to the vacation spot for probably a weekend or a week, at the max a month, and just breathe and take clean breath inside, and we are getting nourished by such environment. Unfortunately, right now, with this whole run method of living, what happens is bhoga tyaga. So we enjoy, renounce, or we run and we pause. We run and we pause. So when during the pause, all we are sometimes thinking is, oh my God, I mean, countdown starts. 1 day over in my vacation, 2 days over, 3 days over. Oh my God, now I have to go back and get back to the run method of living. So even that vacation is not really nourishing our spirit, nourishing our real self. It only becomes like a flavor for our, change from routine, or flavor from for our, dried up senses in the metropolitan kind of world, our culture. So unfortunately, this is becoming a vacation spot rather than a lifestyle. And then Prabhupada mentions there is no mention of mills and factories supported by slaughterhouses, which are necessary paraphernalia for modern metropolis. It brings out another point here about there are 4 pillars of religion we hear. Looking at the time now, let's see. There are 4 pillars of religion, and they are mercy. What are the 4 pillars? I just have to remember now. Yeah, mercy or compassion, cleanliness, truthfulness, and one more thing, austerity, right? Austerity, yeah. So these four are already reducing, and we are noticing that there's not really mercy and compassion towards other living entities very prominently right now. Yeah, some are having like the, what do you call, animal saving, whatever the terms could be, movements and initiatives, but even that is not really equal. It's to one's own favor. So we're seeing here that there was no such sort of slaughterhouses and mills and factories that actually are supported by this in the Dwarka Dham or in the reign of Krishna. Or we even see actually it's Maharaj Yudhishthir's time, right? So Maharaj Yudhishthir never had any of these things. There is particular mention in the previous chapters. I think it's birth of Emperor Parikshit. That's the chapter in the first canto. There is description of Maharaj Yudhishthir's kingdom or rulership, and we see that he considered not just the human beings but also animals and every living entity as praja, a citizen. So that's the way, when there is praja, the treatment of leaders towards all living entities become appropriately equal, then there are suprajas getting prepared to rule further. Suprajas is the best of human beings, so best citizen or good citizen, right? Something like that. Nowadays, if we just pay taxes, we think we are good citizens. That's it. I think that's the best we feel we can do. But here we see that there's so much culture that was so rich at those times, which we are gradually losing. So let's go further in the purport now. Next sentence. The propensity to utilize nature's own gifts is still there, even in the heart of modern civilized man. The leaders of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such naturally beautiful gardens and reservoirs of water. But they leave the common man to reside in congested areas without parks and gardens. Herein, of course, we find a different description of the city of Dwaraka. It is understood that the whole Dhamma, or residential quarter, was surrounded by such gardens and parks with reservoirs of water where lotuses grew. It is understood that all the people depended on nature's gifts of fruits and flowers without industrial enterprises, promoting filthy huts and slums for residential quarters. Now, Prabhupada is going to put a punchline here. Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories to deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Okay, so we'll pause here again. So Prabhupada is very expert and intelligent, and he also understands the deeper, real purport of the verse. And what is it in an educational way? Prabhupada is bringing out a social disorder that's happening now. The social disorder is there is rich, poor, and even in the military, right? The Dwarka time, the Maharaj Yudhishthir's reign and Maharaj Parikshit's reign, during those times, when the war was announced, the first person to stand in the front is the commander-in-chief, who is right next to the king or the president, if you were to use the word. But now the leaders are relaxing and common men are being used, basically. Now this is a utilitarian way of saying used. So similarly here, the resources are not evenly distributed. So that's Kali Yuga. And there is a class of people who enjoy and a class of people who never get to see. And there's in between these who goes for vacations. So this is a society right now. And so Prabhupada is saying, but this only means that the propensity for utilizing nature's own gifts is still there. So the propensity is there. It's misdirected, perverted, misused. That's the way it's going. So Let's go forward. So Prabhupada puts a punchline by saying, this is a very important sentence, I feel. Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories to deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being, but on developing the potent spiritual instincts of human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. So we are thinking of this serene atmosphere also, not for our just enjoyment. Again, going through this cycle of enjoyment and renunciation, and then using it for selfish, sense gratification purposes. But these, this kind of atmosphere can help us to go deeper, or come to like kind of like a mode of goodness. We're not speaking of mode of passion, beauty around us. It is mode of goodness, serenity that we are speaking about in this purport, that will nourish the finer instincts. Prabhupada is saying, right? And why would it actually help us in connecting to a finer instincts? It is because when we use that in service to Krishna, not becoming attached to it. So Dwarkavasis, they're not attached to these things. They're only using it to serve Krishna and then just be peaceful in their devotional service. So it doesn't really affect them. And so the consciousness is the key. The consciousness of utilizing something this way or that way, that's the key. Whether we will, our finer instincts will be awakened, or will we go into more and more enjoying propensity, basically. So so many other paragraphs are coming to my thought. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, when speaking about prasadam, there is a particular I don't know if it's Katha Upanishad or somewhere from, he quotes Ahara Shuddhi, Sattva Shuddhi. Sattva Shuddhi, Smriti Lambe, Sarva Grantinam, Vipramoksha. So Ahara Shuddhi, when we are clean in our eating habits, Sattva Shuddhi, the consciousness or the mode of goodness, even the mode of goodness with the material tinge becomes purified. Our consciousness becomes uplifted, Sattva Shuddhi. So when Sattva is Shuddhi, consciousness is improved or updated or at a right place, then there is Smriti Lambe. Memory becomes fine-tuned. And Smriti Lambe Sarva Grantinam Vipramoksha. So when Smriti is increased, or the remembrance or memory is strengthened, then there is Sarva Grantinam. So when we read Bhagavatam, when we study Vedic literature, mainly Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is Vedanta Sutra, it becomes alive in us, and the grantha becomes very alive, and we are able to actually remember and apply ourselves. So that's, anyway, it's connected here, because even there Prabhupada says the finer instincts of human being will be developed when engaging even the food in offering to Krishna first, and not just for enjoyment alone. Anyway, we end up enjoying, but at least we are honoring prasadam, and then we are experiencing the happiness from that. Okay, so we'll move forward. We have one more paragraph. Development of factories and mills is called ugra karma, or pungent activities, and such activities deteriorate the finer sentiments of human being and society to form a dungeon of demons. Prabhupada's sentence is amazing. We can discuss more about this, but I think this is very clear. Pungent activities. And what happens when one engages in ugra karma? Finer sentiments are broken. So when finer sentiments are broken, we actually come down from human life to animal life in a two-legged. It's very strong in scriptures, but I don't want to go there. But we can just see the deterioration in our consciousness. Next paragraph. We find here in the mention of pious trees which produce seasonal flowers and fruits. So now I'm going to just read through because of time, but we can pay attention and relate to what's happening now. There's interesting things that Prabhupada is going to mention to us. We find herein the mention of pious trees which produce seasonal flowers and fruits. The impious trees are useless jungles only, and they can only be used to supply fuel. In the modern civilization, such impious trees are planted on the sides of the roads. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses of spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks, and reservoirs of water, with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers, and cows giving sufficient milk and butter are essential for developing the finer tissues of the human body. As against this, the dungeon of mines and factories and workshops develop demoniac propensities in the working class. The vested interests flourish at the cost of working class, and consequently there are severe clashes between them in so many ways. The description of Dwarakadam is ideal of human civilization. So I think we would not discuss too much based on this paragraph, even though we could. But right now the time is 7:29. I'll pause here, but I'm sure that this is all relatable to us. So I'll open it up for any further discussion, brief discussions, maybe more people. That would be inspiring. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Mataji, really wonderful, class on, Prabhupada's wonderful purport. What I see is Prabhupada's mood, whatever book you pick, whichever verse you pick is the same. He's almost like a revolutionary.
Yes.
You don't read this sort of things other than in revolutionary books.
Yeah.
And you brought it out very well. One example that comes to my mind about the pious trees and the impious trees is, I think in the 70s, Atlanta or Denver, there used to be orange trees that were lining the city roads.
Yeah.
And, the fruits would fall on the roads. So the city didn't want to clean it up. They said these are causing problems. And they removed all of that and they planted it with impious trees. There are practical examples of people doing that sort of stuff. So I just wanted to relate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that. Yes, true. We see it even all around us here. Okay. Anyone else, devotees? Any sharing thoughts, discussion? We still have 5 minutes because we are allowed to go until 7:35.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This kind of purports are really very inspiring, and Prabhupada is so brilliant that he can bring out, as you mentioned, he can bring out many wonderful lessons from seemingly simple translations of the verse.
Yeah.
I think we always hear that when Prabhupada came to the West, he was not contaminated by the culture of the West. Rather, he gave the culture of Vedic culture to everyone. I think this purport is reflecting that he's not affected by all the factories and mills and all those things which are around him, even in the Western countries, but rather his vision of giving spiritual life and having complete faith that kind of lifestyle is the only solution for the human society is being reflected in such verses. And I was very happy hearing this, and thank you for your explanation, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. True, Prabhupada is an expert, and if we just even have that appreciation, that's sufficient. Actually, that's all we need. Thank you for bringing Prabhupada's glory to the front.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj. Two things occur to me, Mataji, when relating to this one. One was I was surprised after coming here to hear about all these mining accidents. People who work in the mines. I mean, of course, there are in India also some mines, I think. and they get they in fact die in various unfortunate accidents. That is really, even in this day and age, why should they have to go into that job? I mean, what are they? Why are we so dependent on those things? And it is so difficult. I think they go down in such narrow wells, and sometimes caught up there for hours and hours, and sometimes water is flooding there, and they get so they cannot come out like that. And my heart used to go out to that kind of thing whenever I heard about those things.
Thank you.
And another thing I was remembering that I was going on apple picking in when I was visiting Boston with my sister, and then oh my God, the way the apples, truckloads of apples are being wasted, and they don't have any setup to collect those properly and reach it to the people. They just that is also very impious on the part of those who are owning the orchards. I felt, I mean, they don't have a proper plan to collect the fruits and send it to people who may need them. There's so much waste of this thing. I thought about these two things.
Thanks for sharing, Mataji. Ugra karma. And, it's the unfortunate situation of misuse of resources that's causing, and the finer sentiments are not awakened. This wastage is going to be bound to happen.
Yes.
So yeah.
And if I might say one more thing, coming here in America,
maybe we'll ask someone else, Mataji.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else has any thoughts? Okay, so Sandhya Mataji, go ahead. Last thought that you have to share. You want to share?
Yes, thank you, Mataji. That is coming to America, and we have a lot of free space. When we drive 45 minutes out of the city, you see so much vast free space, and there is agricultural farms, everything. Actually, and then they have very nice even in our own community, we can see they have fountains and duck ponds and everything, except that it's ruined by the slaughterhouses. And the civilization is that really Srila Prabhupada says the factories and these slaughterhouses, or at least if they were not there, America is really beautiful. I mean, for the vast spaces that people can afford to enjoy in the open spaces.
That's the key, Mataji. So it's still enjoyment.
It's
not really utilizing in Krishna's service. So then what's the use in one sense?
The maintenances of the slaughterhouses.
What is the use? What is its utility? It's still, even in places which looks beautiful and according to the description of the Dwarakadam, it is still not ideal for perfection of human civilization because it's not being used properly. It's used for motives other than going back to Krishna or utilizing in service to Krishna. So there's not really, it's not ideal. And also some of these ponds and all that we see here, it's a necessity in this country. It's wetland. So it's not exactly like it's for the culture of improving the serenity and finer sentiments of human being. No, it's really like about whether we are using something in Krishna's service more than its appearance actually. But you brought up something to highlight that how it's all present there, but still parallelly there is a lot of ugra karma going on. Thanks for bringing that up.
It's certainly
Thank you.
karma only.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. It's 7:38. If nobody has anything, we can close here and continue tomorrow to see more descriptions of Dwaraka's beauty. I think next 4 verses is all about it. Okay. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki